Bra, 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 bra. Yeah, sorry. Always looks dumb when you do this stuff. What's up, my people? Welcome to another episode. This is episode number 5. Episode number 5. Wow, they're going by really quickly with these weekly drops. So, today we are going to be talking about first-person animations. I'm going to give you the lowdown on how they are made. I am going to show you tips and tricks on how to make them. Also, in this channel, for the first time, we are going to do a giveaway. I'm giving away a signed copy of Battlefield 5 Deluxe. Also, The Art of Battlefield, signed. And if you want to know how to win them, stick by to the end and I'll tell you exactly how to get your mitts on these guys. I have worked before many times on first-person animation, and this is why I am actually going to give you guys these tips on how to make these things happen, so this comes from experience. Here are some games that I worked on over the years that I'm very proud of, by the way. My first experience with first-person animation was GoldenEye 007, and it was great. I had loads of fun on this game. Unfortunately, the studio is no longer around, but it was great to make, learned a lot. Then I worked on Dead Space Extraction. Now this was a first-person animation game on rails. I haven't seen many games like this. It was a very different experience. Definitely a great experience. Then we worked on GoldenEye again, but this time next gen. We had to remake the game pretty much from scratch. Hard work. Then I worked on this little fella here, Crysis. That was pretty cool. Now this guy's here, Homefront: The Revolution. Unfortunately, as hype as the whole team was, the game didn't do as well as we expected. But the game that we did here, the whole animation team is very proud of, and the guys that actually worked on this with me were a lot of fun. We spent the whole project having a whole bunch of fun. Which brings me back to Battlefield 5. After working in many other titles that were not first person, I then joined DICE a couple of years ago. I'm having a lot of fun, great company, worked on Star Wars first, and then worked on this little fella here that just got released. We should celebrate it by doing a video on first-person animations. I didn't do any of the first-person animations. I helped out on a weapon that hasn't been released yet. All credit goes to the amazing team at DICE. First thing we need to do is actually go out and buy some gear, because I'm missing gear to take reference for this. It's a very special type of reference that we have to take. So for the first time, we are gonna go out and buy some stuff. Let's do this! It's so cold in Sweden, so cold. So we're gonna go to the shop. It's gonna be good. So I'll update you guys when I get it. We got a head mount for the GoPro, the infamous GoPro 7 on the head mount. Alright, so welcome. We're actually going to mount it in and look sexy. And now I can actually see what I'm recording right here. So I'm gonna use this to readjust my grip on the weapon. Thanks to my buddy Andres for lending me a reference weapon, even though it's not exactly the weapon that we're going to use for the animation. I'm going to use this in order to see more or less how the weight of the weapon is, how it handles. Let's first of all get this more or less aligned to where I want it to be. So I know that I need to lower the camera a little bit more, like this. Let me see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's record. Here I'm shooting. I need to do it slightly higher so I can get in the camera. Shooting. I'm reloading now. And then put it back in, get the weapon ready. Now I'm ready, and then I'm shooting. It's getting darker, so hopefully we can get something going. Record. Sorry, always looks dumb when you do this stuff. Done, shoot. That feels so satisfying. Reloading and go back. I think that should be enough. So we are back. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A top tip for using this when you're using it for first-person animations. If you use this in front of a mirror, actually works best. I'll put some footage here of my good mate John. He's actually taking the same kind of reference with a GoPro. He has a mirror in front of him and one to the right. The reason why is so he can actually do the first person and the third person at the same time. Most games, whenever you do first person, you have to do a version of the same character doing the same animation in third person, as in the whole body. And the reason why, it's because if you're playing against someone, they need to see what you are doing while you are doing it, if that makes sense. If not, rewind and watch it again. Now that we have our reference, now that we have our footage and we're done with the GoPro, we are ready to actually jump into the computer and animate it. And before I start doing that, I would like to give a big shout out to Matthias. Matthias is a fellow animator at DICE. He is the one that allowed me to borrow his first person rig that he created himself. If you want to use the rig, I'll link you to Matthias's website where you can download the rig for free and use it at your own leisure. If you use it, make sure that you always give credit to Matthias because he has done a lot of work on this, and the rig is great. I think he deserves the credit for it. Having said all that, the first thing we're gonna do is create an idle pose. And what an idle pose is basically like the main pose that you use to go to and from animations whenever you do anything in the game. It's the pose that, for example, when you jump into a game, you are idling with that pose, and it's the most important pose. So it needs to be appealing, it needs to be correct. So we're gonna create that, take a little time, make sure that it looks good. Let's do that. So here I'm setting up the pose, making sure that the gun it's aiming true. It feels like he's aiming down the sights. It's difficult to gauge sometimes. After getting the gun pointing towards the sight in a respectable way, I am now posing the fingers, making sure that everything feels sturdy, just in case I need to rotate the weapon. So you see the fingers on the other side. Some people think that this is a useless work, but experience tells me that this never goes to waste. This time that you spend finessing the fingers. At this point, I'm happy with the pose. I think this is the pose that I'm gonna go with, so I'll stick to it. Okay, so now we have our main idle pose. I made it so it's as true to the aim as possible. Your lead, your director has reviewed it and he said, this is good, go ahead and now block out the rest of the animation. This is what we're gonna do next. We're gonna block out our animations and we go through a whole cycle of animations all in one file. The reason why is so we can continuously go through the animations and see the tempo, make sure that all the spacing and the feeling is the same throughout the whole file. So the first stage of animation is actually going from nothing, blank screen, to idle. Let's say you jumped into a game. The first thing that your character does is go in and put the weapon up. That's called a transition. So you go from weapon down to idle. So after doing the animation into idle, we're gonna go into a breathe animation. I'm not gonna make it very long, just a little cycle. But the idea here is that your character can be breathing for as long as you want. So this is basically a small loop, but it just loops indefinitely. After that, we're gonna go into shooting. So in here, I try to actually kind of make it a little interesting. So you have a slow shooting phase and a quick shooting phase. So after that phase is done, we're gonna go into down the iron sight, zoomed. So we're gonna go from actually shooting fast to then have a transition into zooming. After going down that zoomed phase, we're going to go back to idle again. So transition from here back to idle. Then from this idle pose, we're gonna go to reload. So reloading is the most fun you can have as an animator working on a weapon. But for this case, and we're gonna do a simple reload based on our reference, we're gonna go back to idle, and then after that, we're gonna come out of our animation. And that is basically all the animations we're gonna do. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. It actually took me about a day, 5-6 hours to do. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So let's do this and let me show you exactly how I went about doing the first bit, which is the blocking. At this point, I'm looking at my footage very closely, my reference. I'm trying to make sure that I follow it closely in order to check the spacing, check what I do with my hands, the rotation of the weapon, what comes first, what comes second, meaning the overlap that I get into the weapon coming into the scene. I'm very conscious throughout the whole process that the weapon is very different. So I need to make sure that I cater to the weight of the weapon that I'm animating and not to the weapon that I took as reference. So it's more of an inspiration than actually a reference in a way. So I'm trying to here to get the aiming down the sights correct. It's a very simple motion, it's just back and forth, but it needs to feel convincing. After that's done, I move on to actually make sure that the reload feels good. I start to block it out a little bit, little finger poses, getting the hands to actually kind of hold the weight of the weapon correctly, getting the button next to the mag to feel like it's a button that releases the mag, and the mag when released, that it feels convincingly that is getting like a piece of metal that is stuck and gets unstuck really strongly. So I really wanted to drive that. So I'm starting to get happier with my blocking. I'm trying to retime it here a little bit because I'm trying to feel that certain things feel a bit too slow or too fast. So slowly I'm getting there, and around this point my blocking is pretty much done. Blocking done. Now let's move on into firing, which is the exciting bit. So firing fast and firing slow. We're gonna start with the slow. So have the controller, just as you tap, you fire, and then if you decide you actually just want to spread out and just like make sure that you finish your ammo as quick as you can, you just keep that button pressed and you quickly fire. So let's do those two and then move on from there. Firing, good challenge, I think, always. This rig has a very neat feature, which is the muzzle flash that Matthias rigged. Very simple, just a piece of geo that goes bigger or small. You can rotate it as well. You guys should definitely try it. I'm trying to actually figure out how to do the firing action in a convincing way. So I'm going back to the beginning because I was not too happy how the gun came into the frame. So I'm cleaning it up a little bit to clarify my mind while I think about the firing a little bit, cleaning up the fingers, cleaning up the hand, checking to make sure that everything feels attached anyhow it should be. Now I'm back to firing, and when I look at it again, I'm starting to think that the pop from the fire is too slow. It feels quite spongy because I added about 2 frames to the pop. So I need to reduce that. I need to make sure that the pop feels a bit more immediate. So I'm changing it back to 1 frame. I'm happy here with the fire now. So I decide to go back to doing bullets coming out of the weapon. I was not going to do it at first, but I actually think it adds a lot since the weapon doesn't have a lot of parts, moving parts. So I added 3 bullets, and you have to hide them after they come out of the weapon in order to make it convincingly that you have more than 3 bullets. So I'm happy where this is at. Let's move on. Okay, so firing is done. I'm happy where it's at. My lead has approved it. My director has approved it, let's say. There's bullets flying everywhere. It's great. So Now we're ready to move on to the next bit, which is finding my loops and finding my transitions. So basically here I'm defining exactly what is looping and what is transitioning in the whole range of animations. I need to know exactly the numbers. Those numbers might change, I change my timing, but I need to roughly know exactly what is looping and what is transitioning. That is what's coming next. Right, so here I'm actually trying my best to write down my ranges, my loops. I don't know if you can see it right at the top on that post-it note, but just a reminder for me to know exactly what corresponds to what in terms of transitions and loops. If I change anything in terms of timing, I have to update my numbers up there. So now I'm trying to work on the mag, trying to make that click to feel good. The bullets are on the way. You can see them in at certain angles, so I need to move them away. Now I'm back to that clicking action of the mag going in. I want the hand to read really strongly, and I want the mag to feel very clunky when it goes in. I also want the slider here on the side to feel very sturdy, since it's just a big slider. I want that slider, as soon as it pops back up, to actually affect the weapon on how it moves. So you might see here, when it gets the mag in the slider, you might see here that the gun shakes after the slider moves all the way up. So going back to the mag, trying to make it feel good. It still needs some work. Doesn't feel quite right yet, but it's starting to feel better. I need to retime things a little bit here. Here I'm trying to actually get things to be correct. So once again, I've changed my ranges. I have to update the numbers, make sure that all feels well. That slider I'm happy with. I'm not happy with the mag, but with the slider. I decided to add a little bullet to actually add a little extra flavor. But so far, I like where this is going, and I deemed it ready for the next phase. So I'll show it to my lead, and I'll show it to my director, let's say, and there you go. Harvey, this is looking pretty good, so just clean it up, wrap it up, and it's all good. That is what's coming next. I'm gonna clean up the animation, we're gonna wrap it up, and you're gonna see how I did it. So now we're ready to polish things. I'm actually kind of going through the graph editor, making sure that everything feels clean, feels nice, nothing stands out, nothing is hitting hard, really. And if it is, it's because I wanted to, not because I'm getting it for free. So I'm trying to see how things are feeling right now overall. Okay, so it feels good, but you know, it can be improved. So let's go back to the graph editor, try to actually kind of continue to clean up things, making things neat. Those bullets need to be cleaned, no one else is going to clean it, so time to go in and make sure that they look as good as possible. The clicking mag movement needs to actually feel better, and getting a hand movement there when he actually goes to hit it and hits it with a full hand. It's imperial, so I add that in. It was not important before, but it is important now. In order to actually feel good, it needs to have some overlap in the fingers. So here I'm trying to get that little button to actually feel like it does something. So when he actually presses it to take the mag, the button stays pressed, and when he puts the mag back in, the button pops back out. The mag needs to actually kind of be 100% done at this point. I left it to the end because it really doesn't matter. It's a very linear motion, so it's easy to clean, but the hand needs to feel like he's grabbing the mag properly, no slacking here, and the mag needs to actually have a good arc coming out of the gun. So let's see how this is now. it's okay, but I feel like I need to actually clean that hand that hits the mag a little bit more, and also I need to work a little bit on the gun going towards the weapon. I feel like it's not really holding the weapon before the weapon comes down back to idle. So I need to clean that a little bit, get that hand to really hit the weapon first, and then the weapon comes down as if he's really holding that thing properly. And now I'm going back to that mag, getting that mag to actually feel a little bit better in terms of the hit. I'm not truly 100% happy with it, but that will do, I guess. And let's just check the final result now. Okay, so we got to the end of another video. Thank you so much for joining me once again. As promised, we're doing a giveaway in this video. In order for you guys to enter and win these bad boys here, I'm going to put a link down in the description so you guys can enter. You can enter as many times as you want. Make sure to follow the instructions. Make sure to comment and to give a like to this video in order to actually kind of earn a little extra brownie points. And thank you so much, you guys, for all the love that I've been getting on these videos and all the subscriptions, and for you guys to spread the word about this content. It's highly appreciated by this guy here, and I will keep on delivering these videos as long as you guys keep on liking these videos. I feel like that's just fair. I want to give a shout out to everybody that helped me with this video. It was a little ambitious type of video, so I highly appreciate all the help that I got from everyone. I appreciate you guys for subscribing, for clicking that notification bell, for being there for me, for spreading the word about these videos. Please just spread out the word. Not a lot of people know about this channel. This channel is tiny, so hopefully together we can make it bigger. Until then, I shall see you next Monday. Stay well, stay safe. Peace!